Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the how-to yoga tips. And hello, Tyson. So what you need for your yoga mat today is pretty much yoga blocks. That's the yoga tip for today, how to use and how to provide yourself with more support while practicing your yoga. Have you ever been to a practice where you're rounding your spine, you feel uncomfortable, you can't breathe, and you can't seem to get your hands to the floor? Well, use your blocks. Honestly, I don't know if teachers do express it enough, but I truly express using your props. So let us get started. Hi, I am Theresa, your yoga guide. So for instance, today, you could view my bird's eye view, placing your two blocks, you want to have two for every practice. You can have the box store foam blocks, those are great, but they're not as stable as the wooden blocks. Doesn't mean you can't have those foam blocks. You can have cork blocks, whatever blocks you can find. You can make your own blocks as well. You can see that in the how to create your own yoga props from home, somewhere on my YouTube channel. So when you have your two blocks at the front of your mat, that's where you want to keep your yoga blocks at all times, because that's where you most likely need them, and you can always grab them and move them to the side or to the back of your mat. This is a great example. When you are in a, say, lunge position, meaning I'm going to take my right foot forward and come onto my finger pads here. So for a lot of us, we're like rounding the spine and barely being able to get to the floor, and you can't breathe. So when you slide your blocks as wide as your yoga mat with your right foot right up against that block, oh, there's more space here. Absolutely more space. You could go to the second level if that creates more space, especially if you're a person who has more gifted vessel. You've got more bellies and boobies. So coming up onto your finger pads or at the highest level of your block so that you feel comfortable. Very important. And so when you pick up that back leg, you're able to keep your arms fully extended and your spine long. I find that a lot of people, when they don't have their blocks and they have a lot of stuff and inflexibility at this time, that they're struggling and they're doing one of these and they're not able to breathe, right? Their spine is long. You want to round it. You want to have a long spine. So taking your blocks, again, you can see the bird's eye view, as wide as your yoga mat, foot right up against the block, and voila, you've got that. Okay? So using your props. Another variation that I love to show is Uttanasana. A lot of us, when we step forward into our standing forward fold, we're not able to have that fully extended spine, in meaning Ardha Uttanasana, looking like this. A lot of us are struggling with their legs straight and they're like, ugh, can't breathe. The idea of a standing forward fold is to have a elongated spine. So utilizing, first you could bend your knees from the 4 points of your feet, rising up, lengthening your spine. See my spine, how long it is? It's not rounded and my legs aren't snapped. So as soon as I bend my knees and blossom my bum, I can extend my spine. Another option is take your blocks as wide as your yoga mat and you can have them ahead of you to create space for boobies and belly. And it's your option. You could still bend your knees and come up onto your blocks. If bending your knees and the lowest level of blocks still isn't enough for you, then you come up higher. This is what you're meant to do. You're meant to accommodate the self. So the yoga practice is about you, your shape, your shape. You want to be able to have that elongated spine, not that rounded spine. So if you're still struggling here, bend your knees, blossom your bum, extend through the crown of the head and lengthen your spine and knit that belly button in. Got it? So another variation too that I see a lot of people doing, when we are in say perhaps a lunge, and a lot of us do teach taking both hands inside that, let me not lose my chest here, both hands inside that right foot, but a lot of times that's still a struggle. And then we take our forearms down onto the ground, and a lot of us are like rounding the spine, and it's such a wonderful pose, but yet why struggle when you could take your yoga blocks, that one block right inside your foot right up against the edge of the mat. Everything's lined up. See that bird's eye view up there? Once that's all settled, that's the lowest level. Maybe you're able to take your forearms down and still extend your spine. But if you're still doing this, take your blocks to the next level. And if you're still struggling in doing this, take your blocks to the highest level. As long as you're able to fully extend your spine. See how long my spine is? It's now rounded. So there's no right or wrong. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to understand that bring the floor to you. The use of yoga blocks is an essential part of our support system that we do have on the mat, such as blanket for the knees, bolster to raise the hips, so many possibilities for the blocks. And today, just a little tip for forward folding and lunging and keeping yourself so that your spine is elongated and that you can fully breathe in and out of your lungs and feel that beautiful meant to neutral extension of the spine as opposed to a crunched or a flexed spine, which there are purposes for that as well. But in your practice, we are all meant to feel that we could breathe mindfully and have that fully extended spine, and the channels of your meridians and your nervous system are all fluid. So that, think of a pinched water hose. So you want to keep your spine long. So again, your blocks are your best friends, even if they're here. Even if they're here for more space here. When you lunge back, keeping that spine nice and long. So there you have it. I hope this tip helped out. Please bring your blocks to all of your practices. Get the spongy ones for carrying around from yoga studio to yoga studio, but most yoga studios do accommodate and have these wooden blocks. Please put them at your mat. You never know when you're in need. From my light to your light, theresagagno.com is the subscription practice, the website where I do offer daily practices for you to practice with me. And in my practices, we do use our props. I do give modifications and possibilities for your success of your practice, because we are all meant to be here enjoying and loving our lives. Why not love your yoga practice with your props? See you in the next YouTube tip, and also see you in the subscriptions of yoga. theresagagno.com. Namaste.